Hey guys, it's Chris from St. Hedwig. Welcome back to your class from the Faith Cave. What is going on today? How are you? How are you all holding up? It's been a long quarantine, right? I had to cut my own hair just recently, which was the first time ever. But you know what? Not the worst thing that could have happened. But, you know, it's a weird life nowadays. But what we're going to talk about today is a weird time in the Bible as well. But before we do that, we're going to play a quick game. So let's meet over at the board for the game. Let's do it! All right, so for our game today, we're going to play 2 truths and 1 lie. How this game works is you're going to gather the family, sit down in a circle, and you're going to first take some time to come up with 3 different facts about yourself. All right? And these are going to be come up with in secret. And you're going to write them down. If you don't know how to write yet, if you're too young and you want to play, don't worry, just remember them in your head. No big deal, right? But you're going to come up with 3 facts. 2 will be truths and 1 will be a lie, right? Once you have your list of facts, everyone's going to sit down and you're going to take turns reading them all the way out to each other, right? So once you've read all 3 of your facts, to everybody, then comes the guessing. And everybody in your family is going to try and guess and see if they can figure out which one is the lie, which one of the 3 facts. Does that make sense? Yeah? And then you'll have everybody guess, everyone decide which one they think the lie is. They can decide different ones. They don't all have to agree, right? And then you will tell them which one is the lie. And you add up the number of people that guessed wrong in your family, and that's your score. So if you have like 5 people in your family, and 2 guessed right and 2 guessed wrong, then your score is now 2, right? Does that make sense? Cool. So here's like a little example of what kind of facts you want to use. You want to use facts that when you read them, they could seem true or they could seem false, but only you know what the truth is. So here is an example for me. These are facts about me. The first one, I was crowned king of Disneyland. That seems a little outlandish. Could that be true? Could it not? Who knows? I don't like avocados. Well, that one seems kind of vague. I mean, anyone could like avocados or not. Who knows? Last one, I used to be able to jump higher than my own head. Well, that's kind of crazy, but once again, who knows, right? So all of them seem like, oh, maybe, maybe not. So if you want to, do you want to know which one? Which ones do you think? Go ahead, do practice guess round. Go around, talk about it. Who? All right, we don't have time for you to talk too much. Here's the answer. So, I was crowned king of Disneyland. That one is true. Yeah, as a kid, I pulled the sword from the stone there in the middle of Disneyland, in Fantasyland, and they crowned me king. So, there you go. I don't like avocados. That one is false. I used to hate avocados, but I spent years and years training my body to enjoy them, and now I do. Now I do like avocados. And so then this one is a truth here, right? I was a high jumper in high school, so there you go. Used to be able to jump 5'10". So now you guys are going to play, all right? So you understand it. You're going to first come up with the 3 things, and then you're going to go around, and everyone's going to get a chance to say all their facts. Everyone will guess, add up the people that got it wrong, and then you'll find out who is the best liar, or at least the most sneaky person in your family. All right, ready, and go. All right, who is it? Who won? Was it Jeannie? I bet it was Jeannie. Jeannie's always been sneaky. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the game. What we're going to do now is we're going to talk about our lesson. So let's do it. The gospel for next Sunday is what's called the road to Emmaus. Basically, there were these 2 disciples who were living in the days directly following Jesus' death. Not many people had even heard that he was resurrected, and they were walking on a road to a city called Emmaus, leaving Jerusalem. As they walked, they talked about the current life that they had to live. One without Jesus, one where the man they had been following and they had believed in was gone. And they were truthfully pretty sad about it. As they were walking, they actually met another man. The Bible tells us that this was actually the risen Jesus Christ, but that he hid that fact from them. And as they began to walk and talk with this man, he began asking questions like, "Why are you so sad? What is happening?" And they were like, "Dude, where have you been from? Have you been living under a rock? Jesus Christ just has been crucified. He died." And as they spoke, they told him all the things that Jesus did and why it was such a big deal that he was gone. And then Jesus tells them, No, you guys are the ones that are confused. Didn't you know that this all had to be? Didn't you know that God sent his son to die? Didn't you know that this was foretold from the beginning? That this was all part of God's plan? And as they talked, they ended up talking so long that the sun began to go down, and they got to their homes, and they invited Jesus in. They said, "Please stay with us. Stay, eat with us." And as they ate and broke bread, it was at that moment when Jesus said the blessing over the bread that they realized who they were with, that they finally saw that it was Jesus Christ in their midst. And then he vanished. They said to themselves, "It's all true. He has risen. He is alive and living today." And they started spreading that news to everyone. The crazy part about this story is that it's kind of never been more relevant. We see these disciples leaving Jerusalem, not even close to a church anywhere. And that's where they find Jesus. They find Jesus out in the world, in a place where they least expect it. And nowadays, we're not even really allowed to come and go to church inside of a church anymore. We have to do it out in the world, where we don't expect to see Jesus. But what we see in the Gospels is that if we come together, if we break bread together, that's where Jesus lives. He doesn't just live in this building, but he lives in our homes, and he lives in our hearts, and he lives with our friends. Really, anytime we're seeking him, anytime we're talking about him, that's where Jesus is. It's kind of a beautiful thing. See, Jesus really isn't the type of guy to just sit around and wait for people to come to him. He's going to be out there meeting you where you're at. The only real question is, are you looking for him? So, I have a question for you, and that is, why do you think Jesus didn't want the disciples to know that it was him at first? Why do you think he would want to keep that a secret, at least for a little bit? It's a head scratcher. Go ahead and spend some time talking to each other, like they did in the story, and ask yourselves that question. Do it now. All right, so for our closing prayer, what we're going to do is we are going to break bread, right? But what does that even mean? Well, breaking bread is something that isn't just having a meal, but it's spending time together as a community. What I want you to do is take a seat at a table as a family and share any kind of snack, something that you all like. You know, it could be popcorn, that's something my whole family likes. If you want to just eat some bread, I don't know. When growing up, my family always used to love Hawaiian bread, so we would just sit around and tear off pieces of the big loaf of Hawaiian bread. It was our favorite thing to do. But just sit at a table and have a snack together, right? But don't just eat. I want you to also share with each other. And you're going to answer 3 questions. Each person is going to answer 3 questions. The first one is going to be, where have you seen God this week? Right? We just talked about how those 2 disciples on the road to Emmaus saw God in an unlikely place. Where have you seen God? And it doesn't have to be like, oh, God coming down from the clouds. It could just be you had a really nice time with your brother, or you had a really peaceful morning the other day, or you saw a beautiful sunset. There's a million different ways you could see God, but everyone is just going to share where they saw God at any point in the last 7 days. All right, that's the first question. The second one is, what is something you're excited for? It doesn't have to be anything big, but just something that you're excited about that's coming up. And then the last one is, what's something you need prayers for? Once again, you could have something really big, like I'm moving at the end of this week. I need prayers for that. But maybe you just feel like you need a little more peace throughout the day, or maybe you want to have a really fun day tomorrow and you don't even know how. Whatever it is that you need, that could be something you need prayers for. All right, those 3 questions. Where did you see God this week? What is something you're excited for? And what do you need prayers for? So that is going to be our closing prayer, right? Jesus wanted to do a lot while sitting around a table with food. And so we will do the same as well. But before you go off and do that, why don't we just close this video so you guys can pray and talk as a family in peace, all right? So with that, I ask that you keep my family in your prayers. And know that all of your families are in mine. Please keep praying for the whole church and really the whole world during this crazy time that we currently live in. And I just ask that the peace of the Lord be with you and that you have a great week. All right. Bye, guys. Oh, one last thing. I know for a lot of people, a big part of their worship is being able to give back to the church on Sundays. And now that we can't actually go in the building, it makes it so much harder and easier to forget. So what I did is I put a link to online giving at our parish in the description. It's the perfect way to just continue giving the same way you always have if you can. And it's also the perfect way to keep this ministry going as well as all the other ministries, just to make sure that we'll all even still be here when it's finally time for us to come back to church. All right, have a great day, guys. See you later. God bless. Thank you.